I told you the Roman Empire didn't fall with fire, chaos, or a grand battle, but with a teenager handing over a crown? We all imagine the fall of Rome as an epic, tragic finale with flames and bloodshed, but the truth? It was much quieter, much more tragic, one forgotten battle, one puppet emperor, and a betrayal so subtle most history books barely mention it. This is the shocking truth behind the battle that ended the Western Roman Empire, and the silent tragedy of its last emperor. By the 5th century AD, the mighty Roman Empire was a shell of its former glory. What once stretched from Britain to the Middle East was now divided, crumbling, and desperate. The Western Empire, centered in Italy, was broke, decaying, and lost. Invaders pounded its borders. Its armies, once the finest in the world, were composed largely of mercenaries, soldiers hired not out of loyalty, but for pay. Its rulers? Corrupt, weak, more interested in luxury and prestige than in protecting the empire's legacy. In the midst of this chaos, a boy named Romulus Augustulus, the last emperor, was crowned. Just a teenager, barely old enough to rule, more a figurehead than a leader. He was no Julius Caesar, no Augustus. He was a pawn in his father's game. Now picture this: a powerful army, fighting under the Roman banner, led not by Romans, but by Germanic mercenaries. These weren't invaders, not yet. They were soldiers hired to defend, and their leader? Odoacer, a Gothic warrior who had spent years rising through the ranks, gaining power and respect. In 476 AD, Odoacer demanded what was promised: land in Italy for his troops. But Romulus Augustulus's father, Orestes, refused. That was the tipping point. Odoacer's patience wore thin. The very men who had sworn to protect Rome instead turned on it, and one fateful decision by Orestes, his refusal to give Odoacer's men land, set the empire on its final path to destruction. Odoacer marched on Ravenna, the seat of power. And just like that, Rome's final defense crumbled. The Battle of Ravenna wasn't grand. It wasn't a clash of legions. It was swift, ruthless, decisive. The last remnants of Roman power, defended by mercenaries loyal to the empire, fell in one final skirmish. The city was taken. Romulus Augustulus was captured. But here's where the tragedy truly lies. Romulus wasn't killed. He wasn't even imprisoned in a dark dungeon. He was spared. But he was stripped of his title, his crown, his birthright. A teenager, once emperor, was reduced to nothing. He was sent into exile, alone. But here's the part of the story that most people never hear. The Western Roman Empire didn't truly fall, it simply passed on. While the Western Empire was dismantled, the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, continued to thrive. For nearly another 1,000 years, the Byzantine Empire upheld the legacy of Rome. In fact, Odoacer, the very man who destroyed the Western Empire, didn't crown himself emperor. Instead, he sent the imperial regalia, the crown, the robe, the symbols of Roman power, to Constantinople. It was as if Odoacer was saying, Rome still exists, but it belongs to the East now. The Byzantines considered themselves the true heirs of Rome, continuing to wield the power, laws, and culture that had once dominated the ancient world. So the question remains, what truly fell in 476 AD? Why does this story matter today? Because it teaches us how empires really fall. They don't always collapse in battle. They don't always fall with violence. Sometimes it's a quiet death, a slow betrayal, a decision to abandon everything for a shred of power. Romulus Augustulus wasn't just a puppet emperor, he was a symbol of everything wrong with the empire. A young, inexperienced boy, placed on the throne by a father's ambition. Not a true leader, but a sacrifice. And when the time came to defend his empire, he didn't make a stand. He simply handed over the crown, silent, quiet, alone. That's the tragedy of the fall of Rome. History isn't always about battles and heroes. Sometimes it's about the quiet, forgotten moments that shifted the course of time. Romulus Augustulus, a boy emperor, was the last Roman emperor. But he wasn't the last story of Rome. If you want to learn more about the forgotten tragedies of history, hit subscribe and uncover the stories they never taught you in school.